And if we're not, well then this is going to be a very intimate, private conversation between a few of us. So I just want to take a few seconds to thank everybody for joining the call. If you're having problems joining, head over to the actual Google Plus page and make sure that you join the Hangout from there, because some people aren't getting the notifications. So if you're having any issues, send me a message, and I'll try my best to get you in there. Grelite, can you let me know if this is playing on the page? Yep, it's playing on the page. Okay,
All
cool.
right, now it's live. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Okay, so before we get going here, what I'm going to do, and people feel free to join if you can. Google Plus may be experiencing some issues, I'm not sure. But we're going to just introduce everybody here first. So we'll just go from left to right on my screen. I'm not sure if it's the same for everybody or not. But Brendan, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what your YouTube name is, all that jazz?
Yeah, what's up? My name is Brendan Quine. My YouTube name is Brendan Quine. I kind of keep it pretty transparent.
Yeah.
This is Harley, Harley Quine. See what I did there?
Nice.
Yeah, I'm not really much of a gamer, but I'm looking to be a game designer. I kind of do everything from web development to programming to building computers, you name it.
Very cool. What got you into watching YouTube videos?
Mostly I'm an IT guy at work, and I have no time to play video games anymore, so
Right.
I decided that I would just watch other people play them so I could still experience the story and have conversations with my gamer friends.
There you go. Very cool. Carlos, can you hear us? We're not sure if we can hear you yet. Debatable. Okay, we'll pass on Carlos for now. Grelite is going to help me out. He's going to moderate, ask questions from the chat, things like that. And as always, he's got his typical Burger King hat, glasses, and beard. Looks very good. Do you want to just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, what your YouTube name is, things like that?
I'm Grelite, and now I'm Grelite on YouTube. Yay! What's there to say? I'm a computer science student, and I help Chris out on this channel.
Grelite actually helps me out quite a bit behind the scenes, so it's very, very much appreciated. Next, we'll go to Connor Hill.
Alright, hi, I'm Connor, and my YouTube username is BuddyConnor331. I'm from California, and I like video games and watching people play video games.
Very cool. What got you into like watching YouTube? Just one day you were like, video games.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it went.
Yeah?
I was like, oh look, here's a video of Doom 3 mods I've never seen before. Might as well just watch one, then 10 hours later, yeah.
It's funny how that works, eh? Okay, next we're going to go to Sarah.
Hi. I'm Sarah. I live in Orlando, Florida. My YouTube name is Raggy Jazz, but I don't really do anything worthwhile with it, so that's it.
Cool. What got you into video games or watching them on YouTube?
Well, I've played video games forever, but as far as watching them on YouTube, I was playing Fatal Frame, and I was trying to get past a part, so I was basically just started watching Let's Plays. That way.
Cool. I think most people probably start because they're either stuck at a point, and then they coincidentally fall onto Let's Plays, which are quite a bit different from walkthroughs, I think, but that's cool. Very cool. Zane, thanks for joining. You may have to unmute your mic in the top right there. But how are you, Zane? Can you hear us? It's always awkward, hey, when somebody joins. Okay, Zane, we're going to skip you, but I love you. Thanks for joining. Next, we're going to go to ZHIA. I don't know how to pronounce your name correctly.
Zia.
Oh, Zia. Okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
All right, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, I live in Melbourne, Australia. I am a media and communications postgraduate student, and I'm doing a PhD in video games, so this is a really awesome experience for me.
Very cool. What? Tell us more about this PhD in video games.
That sounds awesome.
So my project is basically on looking at how individual game experiences create a story. So not just consume a story that a game has, but through integrating the player in the gaming experience, they create a unique story that's specific to that gaming moment as well as to that player. So I've got a few games picked out that I'm going to do case studies on, and yeah, I'm just looking around and seeing what's out there for me to put in my project for the next
really
3.5 years.
That's really cool. I've never heard of that before, but I think that's great.
What, video games being PhDs, or?
Yeah, exactly.
It's developing, it's getting there. It doesn't help that video games decide to go leaps and bounds ahead, and academia likes to go to snail's pace to catch up, so...
I hear you. Well, that's very cool. You're kind of pioneering that. I respect that. The only thing I really know about Australia is... Well, there's two things.
Everything can kill you?
No, well, there's two things I know. The one is Tim Tams. Right? Sometimes I get those from my wife's family over in Australia, and they're gone within seconds. If you guys don't know what Tim Tams are, they're like these chocolate cookie type things. They're the best. I can't even describe them because they're the best. And then the other thing that I know is MasterChef Australia, which I watch all the time. Do you watch that?
I don't watch much TV, just mostly because I don't have much time, but yeah, MasterChef I know about. I actually know quite a few of the chefs that have been on there as well. Oh,
yeah? That's cool.
Yeah, do you know Poe from season 1?
Oh, yeah. I know all of them.
Yeah, she used to she used to shop at the store that I worked at last year when I was doing my undergrad.
Oh, that's cool.
And one of the 10 finalists from season 2 is my hairdresser.
Very cool. I guess the cooking thing didn't really work out for her then.
Oh, she still cooks. She runs cooking classes for kids with mental handicaps.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So that's really cool.
That's awesome. Well, it's nice meeting you.
So it happens when you have a country with a tiny population.
Yeah, for sure. Christian Baker, a.k.a. Annicator. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Great. We can hear you. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you into YouTube?
Well, I made an account, and then I got into YouTube, so that's my story.
Don't be so descriptive, man.
I'm sorry.
You're sharing too many personal details right now. This is the internet, right? So you never know.
Everything goes.
I do have to say, you know how... Has anybody here not watched the Dark Descent playthrough that I did? Okay. So I had people submit thumbnails, and Annicator was like the first one. He was episode 1. That thumbnail is absolutely beautiful. I gotta say.
Podcasts.
What's that?
Podcasts.
Yeah.
Music. Beautiful.
I was a fan of the MS Paint one, personally.
With the one with the maple leaf?
The one that looked like it was done in paint. I don't know if it had a maple leaf.
Yeah, there were some beautiful artists among them.
There were some real doozies. Some of them were quite artistic, and I would actually pay for them. Some of them I wouldn't, but they were all pretty enjoyable. The one holding the maple leaf was a buddy of mine, Linus117. He's got a really good channel, and he's actually one of the guys that got me into YouTube. So
it's that other Dutch guy.
The other Dutch guy. I know a lot of Dutch guys from YouTube.
Yeah, you've got a lot of Dutch buddies, don't you?
Yeah, it's weird. Because I don't know anything about Dutch people, even though I talk to them all the time now.
Good. Just go with
very mysterious.
That's
people.
the good thing to do.
Okay. So I'll tell you what. Let's get this started. So I don't know if you guys. I know some of you have actually joined these discussions before. Oh, hey, Fire Clan. How are you? We can't quite hear you. You're probably muted in the top right there.
Can you hear me now?
We can, absolutely. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. Thanks for joining. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you into YouTube, and then we're going to get started.
Well, I'm in 8th grade, and I spend almost all my time on the computer trying to code apps and stuff.
Jeez.
And I found your channel because I tried to play Half-Life 2, but they didn't sell Half-Life 1 anymore, and so I watched your Let's Play.
Nice. You want to know what I was doing in 8th grade?
Sure.
It wasn't coding. I was like I could barely draw or write in the 8th grade. So when you said you're coding, I'm already like intimidated.
He was watching Full House.
I was watching Full House, actually. It's the best. Okay, well, thanks everybody for joining. Let's get started. So, a couple things I want to talk about. We keep this pretty casual, but what I would like to do is ask if anybody would be willing to provide kind of a really quick summary of any of the games that we're going to talk about. So, The Dark Descent, Machine for Pigs, or Outlast. Would anybody like to take a stab at providing a summary?
Full-on summaries.
I could butcher a summary.
Crazy. Crazy.
It doesn't have to be perfect. We're just looking
Once
for a very
upon a
high level.
time.
I kind of did some research on Amnesia Machine for Pigs.
Yeah?
And in the notes that you read, it made a lot of references to James Tilly Matthews from Bedlam. And so I did some research on him, because I always do research on Bedlam.
Okay.
And he's this crazy guy that has schizophrenia. And have you ever heard of the heirloom?
I have not.
Well, he thought up of this machine called the heirloom, and people were trying to kill him by sending rays to his brain. I don't know, he's kind of weird, but you can make, through the research on Wikipedia, you can make so many references to the game in that, and how, if you add it all together, all of that might have been in his head, and the game never happened.
Oh, is that kind of the idea? I like that. That's interesting.
I kind of got that, like, sort of from the game. I was like, it's the Chinese room, and they tend to do stuff like that, I think.
Yeah, well, you know, I never played Dear Esther, so I don't understand a lot of what they do, but...
Dear Esther doesn't really do that, but it sort of does that. Hold on, I have to pick up the phone. Just keep talking.
Okay, so you mentioned, Sarah, that you could maybe do a butchered overview. Which game did you want to do?
Oh my gosh. Bits and parts of Amnesia.
All right, sure, go for it.
So a guy, this is from what I understand, which is very little of it, which is why I'm doing the discussion. But
Sure.
Apparently he went to Mexico. He got some kind of orb thing, magical, or I don't really know. It's split in half. And somehow, I don't know if it's because he killed his kid, but then his soul was split in half, and it was his other soul that was speaking to him throughout the whole time in the mansion when he woke up. And I told you this was butchered. Yeah. And then he's looking for his kids, who he don't realize he already killed, because he had a vision about them dying horribly in World War I. And I don't know. Do you have a better explanation?
I think
Did anyone get
that
the orb? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Did anyone get that the orb in Machine for Pigs was like a complete throwback for Dark Descent?
Yes.
Well, that's kind of what I thought.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
In Dark Descent, the orb that Agrippa has that breaks and is used in torture oozes madness. He says it oozes madness. So if you assume that the orb that Mundus had, that therefore broke, therefore oozed madness, would have driven him insane. Or that power that came out of it. And if you assume that the orb had the same powers as it did in Amnesia Dark Descent, it could have been a gateway to another realm, which would have maybe given his soul power when splitting it in half and stuck it in the machine.
That
Actually,
makes sense.
just to throw this out there, not only that, but they actually mention the Dark Descent one time that I noticed in Machine for Pigs, where they talk about one of the ingredients being the vitae that actually came from the castle.
Mm-hmm.
There's
And I
also,
remember
oh, no, you go ahead.
I remember them talking about Prussians in Dark Descent.
That too.
Alexander was a Prussian lord, and in Machine for Pigs they had like Prussian servants or something, or slaves, like that were bringing stuff over from Prussia or wherever Prussia is. My geography's terrible.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and they also, I seem to remember that in Machine for Pigs, there is actually a note where Mandus talks about his uncle who is working with a similar orb, and he's working with humans, and he has chosen to work with pigs because humans are more troublesome. I seem to remember that.
and probably more difficult to get as well.
There's also there's like a crest or something hanging in the first area that you look through in Machine for Pigs, and I think it's the same crest or statuette that's in The Dark Descent. So I think, you know, one of the things that's interesting is this. This is one of the key points I'd like to talk about with you guys. There's a lot of these references to the original Amnesia game, but I think it's safe to say that it's a completely different experience. Does anybody?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what are the differences that you guys notice between The Dark Descent and Machine for Pigs? And do you think that they were good decisions to change, or do you think they were bad decisions to change?
I think it depends on what you prefer in a game. Like, I like survival horror that's very minimalistic. I don't like running around solving 20 different complicated puzzles and having to collect 1,000 different things to fill up my inventory. So I kind of preferred a Machine for Pigs. I know a lot of people will disagree, because I was able to get immersed in the story a lot more, as opposed to worrying about finding different things that I needed. It was, you know, it was very linear. You could just kind of go through it.
Yeah. One thing that did bother me, though, is that, like, since all the previous frictional games were all about physics and stuff, and in A Machine for Pigs, the Chinese room pretty much made every object, like, it's like, oh, I'm going to pick this up. Oh, no, I'm not. No.
Like,
I
less
seem to
interaction.
remember the first part of the walkthrough with Christopher was, can I pick this up?
Click everything. Where's my hand?
Does this turn into a hand? No? Okay.
Have I got no limbs?
It's a really bad addiction that I have. Like, any shiny object I have to try to pick up.
But like when I played Machine for Pigs, though, I accidentally solved a puzzle because it turned into a hand over the gun lever, and I was like, "Why is this turning into?" Oh,
yeah, a lot of people are doing that. I've seen several playthroughs, and I'm thinking like most people don't even get the hint, like because the secret wall like opens and stuff. Like,
yeah, there's a very
hidden wall.
nondescript note that says something about shooting or something about a gun. I can't remember it. It's right beside the gun wall. But it could very easily be missed. Like,
yeah, it's kind of like a pointless puzzle.
Yeah.
Still, it is sort of cool, but it is kind of like, oh, I pull the gun up, and you're like, it kind of ruins the moment for a player.
I feel like the developers had to figure out like a way to properly open the game to give you a hint of what kind of stuff you were to expect in it. And they were like, well, let's just throw in one hidden wall to show them there's probably going to be a lot of this kind of stuff going on.
Yeah. I mean, to Sarah's point, though, it was Machine for Pigs was quite linear. I had no problem with that. That doesn't bother me at all. In fact, I thought, you know, the part in The Dark Descent where you have to save Agrippa and you're going around to try to find all of the different ingredients. You need to find like the blood pool and a bunch of stuff. That to me got a little bit tedious, and it wasn't as enjoyable. Whereas A Machine for Pigs, I enjoyed it immensely all the way through. But I did not find that it had the kind of scare level, I guess, that Dark Descent had. It was a very different type of horror.
I think Machine for Pigs, out of the three games, Machine for Pigs was more of atmospheric fear.
Totally agree.
There was a presence to it,
Yeah.
and there was the idea that it was an oppressive madness to it. And while in Dark Descent and even Outlast, you had the idea of, oh my god, something's going to jump out and kill me any moment. Where's that thing? Where the variants? Whereas in Machine for Pigs, for me, it was like, what have I done?
Yeah. No, you're totally
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that if you put, like, the jump scares would have been nice, but it would have detracted from the moral of the story, which was this guy's gone crazy and killed his own kids. Like, what can you do that tops that?
Yeah.
With any plot, you're always going to have to define your conflict, and with a lot of games, it tends to be man versus man or man versus world. But the thing that was different about A Machine for Pigs was that it was predominantly man versus self, which isn't something that you really see a lot, which is what set it apart, I think. And it was very different from The Dark Descent.
Which one disappointed a few people.
Yeah, you know, do you guys think that had they not released it under the Amnesia title, that it would have been received a lot better?
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem is that many people don't realize that this is not a Frictional Games game. This is the Chinese room. This is not Frictional Games. Frictional Games is currently working on their super secret project.
Yeah.
And they're working on like a new version of their engine with terrain rendering and everything. Like I've read a bunch of stuff about it. And a lot of people expect this to be the same game as the first Amnesia. But it can't be because it's not made by the same people.
Yeah. And I think, to be honest, I think for the average user that if you see the Amnesia title, you do think it's made by Frictional Games, right?
Mhm.
I know you're like really involved in a lot of that kind of stuff where you're developing and modding and things.
Yeah, you keep up to date, but
so
a lot
you
of people
get it.
don't.
But I think as soon as you attach that Amnesia title, everybody assumes it's going to be the same type of scare.
Yeah, you do have sort of like a responsibility, and one thing, like I can understand why people dislike it because it is very different. Even when it comes to like they got rid of a lot of mechanics that are present in the original Amnesia, like there's no sanity, there's no inventory management really,
Yeah.
and it's mostly just like turn the lever and pull the switch.
Yeah. It's an
And
experience
of
rather
course-
than a puzzle.
Yeah, and of course they went with the kids cliche, where kids are saying "Daddy, Daddy," and it's like, oh no, it's one of those
Little
games
kids
where they
are
have
always
got kids.
terrifying.
Now it's
Man, as soon as I heard that first little thing, "Daddy, don't kill me," I was like, "Fuck this!" Like, I don't want to play this anymore.
I
at all.
kind of hate I hate it when games do that though because it's sort of like a cheap way of getting people to go like, oh no, they're kids.
Yeah, no, for sure. But the other side is that it's kind of cheap with like non-stop jump scares.
Indeed, indeed.
Which is, which I think might be a good transition to maybe talk about Outlast compared to either Amnesia games, really, because it's quite different.
Yeah.
Has anybody?
Took my life.
Sorry?
Outlast took years off my life.
Oh my god.
There was, Dark Descent was great and Machine for Pigs were great, but Outlast was just hey, look, you're gonna find grey hairs tomorrow because this is not cool.
Yeah, 100%.
I think Amnesia was not that scary as Outlast. So
It's
So
a different kind of.
It's a different kind of scary.
Yeah, so
I'd
tell
say.
me
Yeah.
about that though. Why do you feel that way?
I don't know, the darkness is too much in Outlast, and I didn't play Outlast, but as a first look, yeah, that was it.
Interesting.
There are a lot more creatures in Outlast that can actually harm you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, you should keep in mind that they're very different kinds of horror games, of course, for very different kinds of people.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, Outlast was definitely more jump scare, like you're running for your life, and A Machine for Pigs was definitely much more psychological, slow building.
Well, even the Dark Descent.
I kind of got the impression that Outlast was more closely associated with the Dark Descent, in terms of the chases, right? Like being chased is the worst feeling. Like it is the worst.
And then the mechanic that you can look back.
Oh, that was awesome.
Never look back.
That was awesome. I don't know why I would do it. It's just like pure terror.
Yeah, that's something I really liked about Outlast, how every interaction was animated as
Yeah.
well. Like, I open a door. Hey, look, I'm actually opening a door.
Yeah.
I really like that. Like, I miss that in a lot of games. It's like, push the button. Oh, hand goes on button. Good.
I loved the subtleties. Like, so first thing is, I noticed that when you were to peek around a corner, you'd put your hand up on the wall, and you could see your hand. And like, it's such a small thing, but it was genius.
It
And then
makes
when
you
they
feel
cut
like
your
you're
finger
there.
off,
Yes!
Oh god.
oh,
brutal.
those
So
are the
brutal.
worst. That torture scene, man. That I've never
when he
experienced anything like that.
Cut. The first thought
Magical.
in my head when he cut the fingers was like, how am I going to hold my camera?
Yeah, me too.
The worst
my
part
God.
was he took the scissors out of the
I can't see the
urinal.
dark.
Yeah, there were some moments where, like, at some point you jump, like, from a ramp, and while you're holding up the camera, suddenly, like, you put your camera on the side, but you're like, no one can do that fast. But, hey, sometimes you can't have everything.
What did you guys think about the camera mechanic in Outlast? Did you think that it was a welcomed kind of addition, or did it feel gimmicky at all?
I liked it a lot. It was very, very well done, very seamless. You know,
Yeah.
Took it out, put it back.
It wasn't like the cameras in some you've got a lot of horror games where there's like cameras and you're like, oh look, I've got a camera, how special. And here it's actually like, oh, I can actually use this shit.
Yeah.
Can I just say quickly that, Christopher, watching you play the end of Outlast with the wall rider chasing you frustrated me to no end, because I'm screaming at my computer, you can see the wall rider with night vision. You can see it with night vision. And I was like, no!
Yeah, that did happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
And there's times when you jump into the airlock, and if you turn around with night vision, he's right on the other side of the airlock. Like, right there, standing there.
I didn't know that.
So,
I
they
didn't know
handed
that.
it to you when he kills Walker, and he's like flinging him around, and it goes to night vision, and you can see the thing like,
Yeah, that was insane.
throw him, and then you turn night vision off. I was like, no, because it adds to such tension. Like when you're in the room with the cylinders full of water, and the music comes on, and you're like, what? I'm like, okay, he's right there. If you turn night vision on, he's right there. No, okay, never mind.
Gotta save the batteries.
Dude, those batteries. Those batteries are so important. I was like running low for a while. Then I started finding bundles of batteries, and it was like jackpot.
It's always batteries and tinder boxes, or whatever those things are called.
Yeah,
don't get us started on tinder boxes.
Well, so I want to talk about that actually, because that was one of the biggest, one of the most commented things I saw was that where are the tinder boxes? And when I first started, I was like, where the hell are the tinder boxes? Like, this lamp's just going to be on all the time? Mm-hmm. What did you guys think about that?
I think that people should have left you alone about the lantern, because you always had enough fuel.
Definitely.
You mean the dark? You mean in the Machine for Pigs?
Oh, sorry, I meant in Dark
in the Dark Descent.
Yeah, you always had fuel. You almost never ran out. And
Yeah.
people were always telling you that you needed to use more tinder boxes when you didn't need to.
Yeah.
I'm
I love
glad
YouTube.
the box was gone and Amnesia. I didn't
Really?
Yeah, when
I
I
liked
first
it.
started, I would take out my lantern and I'd put it back right away because I was trying to conserve fuel. And I didn't realize that it didn't matter how long I had my lantern out because it's not going to go out. So that was fun. But I preferred it a lot.
Well, I get where you're coming from. For me, that adds like a sense of urgency that you have to conserve your ammunition, and you don't know when the next. It's like a pressure to try and be conservative with what you're doing and how you're doing it, and to really think about it, because you're like, okay, I've got like 5 tinder boxes left. I don't know when I'm gonna, have any more, and I don't know when I'm gonna find more oil for my lantern, and like in Outlast, I don't know when I'm gonna run out of batteries. Thankfully, in Outlast, there is like a little cheat. You do have a little bit of night vision left if you run out of batteries completely. Because I was in the sewer and I ran out of batteries in that like pitch black part, and I quit. I went back to a previous save because I'm like, I'm not doing this. You can't see the distance, but if they come at you, you can see them and you can see stuff in front of you, but it's not the same. And I just couldn't. I was so scared, and I played the games.
Well, I mean, I can give a perspective that might be a little bit different from you guys, but for me, like when I'm playing games, it's going to be broadcast on the internet, on YouTube, and I know that from a technical standpoint, YouTube darkens things a lot, and so for me, I try to make sure that you guys can see stuff. Otherwise, it's just going to be comments about this game's too dark. I can't see anything. Turn on your lights, and then I'll turn on my lights, but then I'm using too much light. And there's always kind of like that. I never can get that balance right. So I just try to give people as much vision as I can. Meanwhile, I don't want to run around in the dark either, right? So I found in Outlast, I pretty much had my camera on 24/7. There was almost no reason to not have your camera running. I found. Did you guys find any reason why you wouldn't have your camera up?
I like the part
you
where
would be setting the vibe in game.
Yes, that is correct.
Very important.
When you documented killing Traeger, that was pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? The reason I asked about the camera is because I think that it was cool. Don't get me wrong. It was super seamless. It was really easy to control. It was actually fun to use, I thought. Mm-hmm. But there was almost no reason ever to put it away. Why would you not videotape the whole thing, right? I very rarely...
Running out of tape.
Well, that's it. You don't run out of tape, but you have the battery thing. But there were tons of batteries by the end. Mm-hmm. There was only one situation where it got pretty tight.
But the flip side is the situation where you drop your camera and you've relied on this camera the whole game. It's just there, and then you drop the camera and there's like the moment of apocalyptic terror of I'm gonna have to go get that.
Yeah.
And then you go back through the thing and you've been through there. You know they're there. You know those guys with the blades are out there, and you're just like sitting in the fetal position in the corner going, I'm done. Just let me die here.
Yeah,
just give me a second.
At the same time, though, admittedly, that means that like the only reason to have the camera was for the night vision, though, almost.
Yeah.
Like it almost seemed like it would have. Oh yeah, and well, in that, like it almost seemed like it would have been better to just have a night vision camera only, or something weird like that. Like it was
some
hard.
Goggles with them.
Yeah, something like that. And then the goggles needed batteries.
I think that I did like how they incorporated the fact that you would only learn a little bit more through your journal entries or your notes if you were videotaping the right thing.
Yeah.
But I like that a lot. But again, I just tried to videotape everything. So when it happened, I was like, okay, great. They
made a horrible decision with those journals. It wasn't in descending order when you got new ones. That's problematic.
Can you expand on that a bit?
Well, in Amnesia, when you get a new entry, it goes to the top, and in Outlast, it goes to the bottom.
You think with such a game designer head, you know?
1 out of 10.
I can't think like that. I'm just too nervous. I just didn't want to die.
I've got this horrible curse of not being able to think like a normal gamer now. So
I hear you. Okay, so next thing I want to talk about, you guys, and this is where I'm expecting things to get a little bit heated. What did you guys think about the endings of the games?
Oh boy.
Wonderful. Let's not talk about them.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm biased because I hate open endings. I hate endings that it's just a personal tick. I don't like endings where either it's an ending where you're not meant to have all the answers and you're supposed to be satisfied with that, or the ending where like you get the answers and it's just enough to satisfy you. Whereas the endings in all 3 games was, what just happened?
Well, the thing is, like, I do like sort of like, it depends, but there are like, for example, in these games, in Machine for Pigs and Outlast, you pretty much just spoiler alert, you die. That's pretty much it. Like, it's just like, oh, well, that's a way to kill a story. And it's kind of like, I dislike that. I dislike killing off a character just like, oh, well, it was bound to happen. And I'm like, well, make something else happen. Put a twist. Because I know this is going to happen. I don't like knowing this is going to happen.
That's what happened in The Walking Dead. That was the best ending ever.
Don't spoil that.
No, we're not talking about that.
No.
I don't have any proof.
At that moment when they put a bit more money into their animation budget, yeah, that was wonderful.
You and your animations.
It's crucial.
So let's break it down a little bit. The Dark Descent, okay?
I think the good ending was like, oh hey, I'm gonna move this and that. Then after I destroy the evil, I forgot his name.
Alexander, the Shadow Magic.
That guy
What's the Shadow
got
Evil there?
killed at the end. I haven't played much.
Well, there's 3 endings on
There's
the Dark
4.
Descent.
There's 4 technically.
Oh, there's 4?
Oh,
Technically.
geez, be careful. Do not say 3. People will kill you.
Oh,
You
well,
freaked me out when you wanted to
I'll
stay
say
in the
3
cell,
then.
Christopher.
I'll say 3. I'll take the risk. There's 3 obvious ones.
There's 3 obvious ones, and there's
That's
a 4th one that Christopher, I thought you were going to go towards, and I was like, no.
The bad the secret one, and the good one.
And the revenge one.
So what did you guys
I didn't
think?
see that.
Multiple endings. Some of them are good. I've only seen the one that I did, where I ended up saving Agrippa because I have his, of all things, I'm carrying his head around.
Yeah, which you almost didn't get to because you were like, how do I get this guy out of here?
Well, I was so confused, man. There was the thing with the well, and then the meat stick. I don't know. It was weird. But yeah, so I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts on how they tied that up, or wrapped things up.
Can we actually talk about the endings? Because I didn't know there were other endings to The Dark Descent besides Chris's until right now, and I feel like an idiot.
Yeah.
Well, don't feel like an idiot.
Let's talk
Don't you
about it.
tag these with spoilers?
No, what he
already
means
did
is he didn't know that there were other endings aside from the one that I did. So yeah, can somebody explain the different endings? Because I've only seen the one also.
Well, there's one where you lose, but that's also an ending.
The good one was just completing stuff, kill the bad guy, and then just walk away.
The good one was where Chris threw Agrippa's head into the portal. That's
Right.
the good, and I'm using air quotation good.
Yeah,
The revenge
'cause
one is where you knock down the pillars and you break the portal, and the shadow kills Alexander, and Agrippa doesn't go into the portal, and basically Daniel walks out of the crumbling castle. That's it.
Yeah, but it isn't like you're not sure if he's like if the shadow has stopped chasing him. 'Cause
yeah.
That's like.
And then the bad one is where I think it's you don't do anything and you let Alexander go into the portal and then the shadow kills you.
Mm-hmm.
And Alexander's like, thank you, you're a good person. I'm like,
thank you.
And then the secret one is where you stay in the cell that the creature throws you in. I think it takes like 25 minutes. And then the shadow ends up actually coming to kill you. And it tortures you with like the voices of the people you've killed and all that kind of lovely stuff. But people really don't find it because they're pretty desperate to get out of that cell.
Well, Chris was getting close.
Are you talking about the cell where I had to find the hidden wall thing?
Yeah.
People
When
get
you
stuck in there
said-
for 25. If I was stuck in there for 20 minutes, I would have quit.
Well, you said, oh, do I have to just wait? Do I get out? And I'm sitting at my computer like, no, get out!
Yeah, that would have been
You
bad.
die, and then the credits roll.
That would have been bad.
Happy ending.
That's a pretty good summary, actually, of all the endings. The other games, as far as I know, don't have multiple endings.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't think so.
the ending for Machine for Pigs. I'll give you my thoughts on it. I thought that this whole time you're experiencing this story and things are unfolding very slowly, and then I almost feel like the end was a little bit rushed. Like, did anybody else get that impression?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it seemed that way.
Like, I just feel like there was a lot more that they could have expanded on. Like, I get the point that maybe they want to leave people with a little bit of a cliffhanger or what have you.
I think it has to do with the actual development of the game. That's me again. But but I heard that it was initially going to be another DLC, but then it expanded
I think you're right.
a full-on game. So they had to fill in the gaps. But it was actually supposed, like, if it was a small little DLC sort of thing, then just killing off the character wouldn't have mattered as much because you didn't go through as much, I guess.
Right.
So and just it would be a lot more condensed. And I think that sort of making it bigger also added a lot more risk of it just becoming a bit vague and disjointed.
Yeah, I agree. Any other thoughts on the ending for Machine for Pigs from you guys?
Yeah,
Actually,
No, you
sorry,
go.
go ahead. Okay. My biggest question with A Machine for Pigs, maybe I just missed this too, but with The Dark Descent, it's called Amnesia, and you obviously have amnesia, and you have to figure stuff out, and at the end you find out you drank an amnesia elixir of some sort, and that's why you forget. With a machine for pigs, you wake up and you're kind of just at your desk and you go through the entire story, but I never really figured out why you didn't know what was going on in the first place.
You were electroshocked. At some time, you were like sabotaging the whole machine, and the Mandos puts the hands on a wire, and he gets totally electroshocked, and he forgets.
It talks about exposed wires at some point, and causing these type of injuries.
Kill himself at the end of his sabotage.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, and failed miserably, and then when he woke up, he thought that there was a saboteur and was out to get him, even though it was him. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the poetic sort of thing was he needed to use the machine to kill himself. Like, he couldn't kill himself by any other devices. It was by the machine's hand that he died.
Rifles.
There's a knife. Let's not use that.
So true. And what about Outlast? So, I'll be honest, Outlast, the last probably hour, I was like, what the hell is happening? Like, my brain was literally melting. Anybody can put that into like terms that a 5-year-old could understand, that would be appreciated.
How I understood it was the what was it called? The Wall Rider? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wall Rider.
He needed like a host to survive, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And I think in the very end, the character you were playing, Miles, I think he was possessed. And then, but whenever he was shot, I guess what the open ending's supposed to be is where does he go next? Does he go into the dude in the wheelchair whose name I forgot, or I guess he just takes over different people and he can't really be killed himself?
Well, whoever he takes over has to have extreme trauma in order to even be a host in the first place, which is why you could be one.
Right. Because of your whole experience up until that point.
Okay, yeah.
That was like when you read that note about the host needs to be, or the whoever's hosting needs to be in proximity to madness and death in great quantities. My first thought when I was playing with this was, well, I'd make a perfect host. And then the end came out, I was like,
That makes sense. Okay, there's a couple of questions that people posted on the announcement video for this. Let's see. Charlie Knows All, I think this is from him. The question is, what was the purpose of the Aztec temple at the end, and how did Mandus's heart being ripped out kill the machine? I know that Mandus and the machine are connected by a bit of his soul he put in it, so does Mandus's death equal the machine's death, and why would Mandus have something like that built in the first place?
And how?
Is it there, though?
He's rich. He's really super rich, apparently.
He's got to be.
Well, yeah, he comes from a wealthy family. I don't know. These are all the answers I was hoping you guys would have.
Can I take this one a little bit?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so Mandus was an engineer, right? In a lot of ways, he was a business person, but he was obsessed with efficiency. You could tell by all of his kind of ramblings throughout the game. He was always about, so impressed with the fact that like he could take, the like excrement and turn it into fuel for the machines and how to make everything as efficient as possible. Now, the thing to look at here is the fact that his soul is split in half into almost like a more robotic, unfeeling, cold version of himself and a more human version of himself. And just because it's split doesn't mean, either side took the efficiency. He has the efficiency obsession on both sides. When he has it as a human, he looks at it like it's heartless to, want to kill people and do everything like that. But when his machine side looks at all of the efficiency, it just sees humans as another piece of the puzzle, and that's what makes the machine okay with doing stuff to humans. Does that kind of make sense? That's what I kind of took from it.
It is an interesting view.
I think I like that you talked about his efficiency, because what I found really cool is how he was using like the excrement from the pigs to power certain areas, and he was using the steam to, I don't know how he had it all working, but everything had a purpose, and even just the exhausts of certain things had a purpose for powering the machine, so it's kind of this ongoing thing. Mm-hmm. I got the impression, like, obviously he was running this processing plant thing, and then I kind of thought that from the vision that he had in Mexico that he got this kind of inspiration to use this great machine that he's created to further develop it to cleanse kind of the Earth or cleanse humanity. Am I off on a weird tangent there, or is that kind of the idea?
No, there's that whole church with the weird windows.
Yeah, with the pig standing on the pig with the
yes,
yeah,
pig human standing on dead real pig.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And stairs on the altar.
What's that?
Oh, and stairs near the altar.
Yeah, that's true. There was one thing that people were saying is that you kept like descending at one point, and then you were outside all of a sudden.
Right.
Did I miss something, or were we not super
I think
deep
there
at
is
that
an
point?
elevator, right? But it's just after a loading screen, so it doesn't really transfer to you the height you are going up, because it's just a loading screen. So you get into the elevator, it loads, and then you're outside.
Right.
Yeah.
Bit of a missed opportunity there.
Yeah, when you're in that big cavernous sort of control room and you're breaking everything and the machine's flipping its shit, and you just sort of get thrown backwards, and there is an elevator scene, so when you come out of it, if you notice the elevator scene, you're like, oh, obviously you put two and two together and you're out on the street. But if you hadn't noticed that, it's so brief that you would have missed it completely.
Right.
Yeah, fair enough. I would like to take some time to talk about some of the different monsters that we encountered in the 3 different games. I know that we're probably bouncing around a lot of different topics, but I want to try to cover as much as we can. We could obviously spend 10 hours talking about all these different things, but
we're all flexible.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, different monsters. So in the Dark Descent, you've got that weird kind of half-faced, weird. I don't know, what was that thing? Does anybody know?
Well, they called them the servants.
It was the people in the cellar. When you went down in the cellar and you heard them all, like, their bones breaking and their bodies are exploding and stuff like that. Isn't that what they were?
Yes. They, because Alexander put stuff in the wine, and then it turned them into the creatures, and now they walk around the castle, killing anything that sees.
Oh, I didn't catch that. That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I never really linked those things up, because I thought he just killed them.
Yeah, me too. I thought he was, like, mutilating these people for some reason.
No, it was like some sort of thing that he did to them. It was the people, like the investors in his project, and that's how he kept them quiet and he turned them into these monsters. There's two kinds. There's the skinny one that's really fast, and then there's the one that sounds like it's dragging like Pyramid Head's cleaver.
There's like because they're called the Gatherers, I think, or something. Usually he just refers to them as servants, and the other one is called a brute or something.
Yes.
So they were poisoned, essentially. They were poisoned, essentially. Is that what you guys are saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that imagery of him just butchering them and, you know.
Yeah, like that's what FireClan is saying. He put something into their wine that, like, so what happened exactly?
I think that they were.
What happened exactly in an Amnesia game?
I've heard that they were tortured. Then Alexander forces them to drink Amnesia wine.
No, that was the people that fueled the portal and fueled his ability to use the orb. The creatures were made of the investors that he locked in the cellar with wine, which was poisoned. And you heard the flashback of their bones breaking, and the guy's written a note that their bodies are rupturing open and all that kind of stuff.
I think he gave them a plot device.
I love having you in these calls. It's a totally different perspective.
FireClan is getting ready to say something too.
What?
Were you getting ready to say something, FireClan?
Somebody else already said it.
Oh, gotcha.
So Grelite's copy pasted something here. Where did this come from, Grelite?
The Amnesia wiki. This is a note found in the castle. It says, "This story reaches all the way back to the time of the 30 Years' War."
Can you read this in your Daniel accent?
Daniel.
Oh, it's pretty good.
All right. "This story reaches all the way back to the time of the 30 Years' War. Yes, that the soldiers who abandoned their duty got lost in the cold, dark woods, and were forever damned to roam the grounds. Their bodies wrought by their tainted souls have left them disfigured and empty of essence. Many have cited them over the years and described them as horrid revenants. They move silently through the woods, shying away from any beholder. They are called gatherers, as they seem to follow some ambition to steal living creatures. It is their prey which can be heard struggling inside damp burlap sacks dragged behind them, which reveal their presence. What dark scheme do they follow?
That was pretty good.
That was great.
Someone found Google effects.
Uh-oh.
Oh no!
Really good. Really cool. So let's talk about the pigs then in Machine for Pigs. So I was originally when I saw the very first one, I was like terrified. But then towards the end, I don't know about you guys, but I started to just feel kind of like empathetic towards them. Like I almost felt bad.
Well,
Like they weren't so much scary at that point.
Yeah.
Well, the game gave you a lot of opportunity to just kind of see them sitting around being miserable in their little cells, so that
was cool.
Well, that was kind of like a contrasting moment, because you were like, oh, this guy's in a cell. Why is he in a cell? He can't do shit to me. And then you walk to the other door, and you're like, oh, there's one. He's having a good time eating at the table.
Yeah. Well, because the first time that you experience them almost as a group, but they're not actually there, is you see all the different little pens that are stacked on each other, and you're kind of navigating through them. But then you see like they each have their own individual cells where they're kind of like living a normal life.
Playing with blocks.
It was weird.
That's what I was going to talk about. One of the big things that that was like read in the thing was that all the orphans lived in the area where they would go and clean out all the pipes, right?
Yeah.
And all of the ones that you saw in those cells seemed really childish, like they all played with blocks and weird stuff like that. So is that to say that all of the pigs that were really like in that area, or like pig humans, were really just the orphan children turned into them?
Mm-hmm. Well, there was reference to them taking people from some mental hospital, I believe.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if it was the fact that, like, I don't know if it was actually children and why they were playing with blocks. I think it was more of a simple-minded kind of activity. They did talk about putting the children through the pipes to clean the pipes, and then if they took too long, then the steam would actually end up just killing them. I thought that was a nice little touch.
Then they put in more kids to clean up the dead kids.
Exactly. And then the pipe plugged up because they all died.
But he said he killed the survivors anyway.
Yeah, they fed them to the pigs. On the subject of children, though, this is probably my literary mind coming through. I don't know if anyone got, but the way that the pigs were framed, they were like surrogate metaphor children, like literal children for him. And the way he kept referring to the machine, at least initially, the machine was a surrogate for his wife. And and between him and his wife, they gave birth to these monstrosities that, as getting to know them, as realizing, oh my God, what have I done to them? It is a literal metaphor of, oh my God, what have I done to my children?
Yeah, because I really thought that a lot. Like, he's mentioning his kids a lot. Maybe his kids are these things, because he talks about a lot. Like, I made that connection a lot while I was watching it. I was like, I feel like there's a connection, but I don't want to say yes or no.
See, I got the impression that, like, his wife, she died giving childbirth to these twins, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And at that point, he already had his kind of processing or manufacturing plant, correct? So then afterwards, after he had like this vision or whatever happened in Mexico, then he decided to really start investing more time in this thing and make it for more sinister purposes. And he kind of referenced it as his Lily, his new, like, kind of named it after his deceased wife. And in some ways blamed his kids for his wife passing, which is why they were like the first ones to be killed with this machine.
To be processed.
Yeah, to be processed.
Because they had sinned.
Right. Am I gathering that correctly?
That's kind of what I got from it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like he wanted to save them, and so what crime would children have committed that they needed to be saved from? Because the machine did say they were not innocent.
That's true. That's true. Okay, so I think we've covered off pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about. What I would like to do is give you guys an opportunity to ask any questions of the larger group before we wrap it up and call it a day. Does anybody have anything that they would like to bring up?
Yeah, I would actually like to talk about a machine for pigs. Yeah, I agree that the ending, it feels a bit. It has a different pace than the rest of the game, but in the narrative, the last third, you have 2/3 of the game where you're like trying to guess what has really happened, and trying to work your way into the machine, and everything starts falling into place. And then in the last third of the game, Mandus goes totally evil genius, and he suddenly decides that he's going to kill every rich person on the planet. But what the fuck? What happened in between? I mean, like, there's something missing there, and it's a bit. I mean, like, why? Why?
The game kind of portrays him as very sympathetic to the poor, at least in the very beginning.
Yeah, but the change. Yeah, the change is so sudden. Like, it doesn't fit the character. Like at the end, to be this simply because it's Mandus. It's not the machine. Even Mandus himself, like, he's put those ideas there. Like, everybody is guilty, everybody has to die, and that kind of comes from nowhere.
I think it happened basically after his visions with the whole orb thing, and he saw, his sons being killed and all the atrocities that had happened. I think it was just kind of involving everything that he saw.
I really wish they did more with the orb story in this one, where they like explain or like just spend more time on
it wasn't
the Mexico
fleshed out
part.
at all. I mean, and it was a really integral part of the story, and
yeah, like that's where the big change happened for him, and then it's like, everybody talks about it as if it's normal. Like, oh, you came back from Mexico, good. Now let's get on with business.
And you never really even saw the orb.
No.
Yeah. Well, you saw them right at the end, the
hallucination.
two glowing lights on the pyramid.
Right. But
That's the only time you ever see them.
until that point, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a bit silly.
Yeah, I wish they would have fleshed that out quite a bit more, because it's kind of the whole purpose of why, like, that's his whole prerogative throughout the whole game, right? That this orb changed the way that he operates his life and operates his business and kills his family. I think it's pretty important.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. It was not fleshed out. But I don't know anything further aside.
Why was he in Mexico actually? Because
wasn't it like Aztec ruins in Mexico or something like that?
Pretty sure that's what it was.
Yeah,
but why did he go to Aztec ruins when he's got a slaughterhouse?
Well, it's actually, of the time, it was the fashionable thing for the rich aristocracy to do, is to go overseas and call yourself refined because you'd romped around in some ruin and broken some piece of rock off and brought it home.
Oh, so it was like tourism.
Wonders of the world
it was
kind of thing.
Yeah,
Sort of,
it was.
But in the game they kind of let you think that he actually knows why he's going there, because he has like stuff from, as you said, the stuff from Egypt and Mexico and whatever. So the fashionable thing to go and get old stuff. But there is a note where he speaks about books he has in his library, and how some of them point to some particular places. Like he knows that he's going to Mexico to try and find something special. I think I remember.
I don't know if it was stated that he was going there with a purpose.
Could be.
It's
Didn't he say he thought he was like being called there?
It could be. Let's actually do let's search this out here.
I would have even bought a throwback that would have been, hey, some fragment of Alexander's soul is stuck in the machine, or Daniel's insanity is stuck in the machine, or whatever. You know, trying to get to this alternate realm from Amnesia. But it was like a throwback, but it was a half-hearted throwback. You toss it the ball and it landed just a little bit short.
Rick.
All that Wikipedia says is set in London on New Year's Eve, 1899. The focus of the story is on Oswald Mandus, a wealthy industrialist, and his relationship with his children. Mandus returns from a disastrous, in quotes, expedition to Mexico where tragedy struck. Hit by fever, Mandus had frequent dreams about a dark machine until he regains consciousness. Little does he know that months have actually passed, and upon awakening, he hears the roar of an engine and a mysterious machine starts up.
Says nothing about an orb.
Nothing about an orb there, but further on it says...
The boys found a stone egg, isn't that what they said?
That's kind of what I think is the orb. Yeah. It does say further on here that as the machine begins to power back online, Mandus recovers the last of his memories. After he returned from the Mexican expedition, Mandus was consumed with obsession over a vision of the future, which gather notes imply he gained through the power of an orb. He saw the coming horrors of the 20th century, both of his children killed at the Battle of Somme, and the suffering of the innocent through death, war, and disease. Driven by the vision, Mandus decided that he could not allow it to come to pass. He built the machine to take people and make the world anew with what it created, the pig people.
Yes.
More about the orb. It says, because of the nature of the machine and its supposed encounter with the orb, Mandus' soul was shattered in two. This event created the Engineer, an embodiment of Mandus' mad wish to prevent his visions of war and bloodshed. But it also left Mandus with no memory of his visions or the machine. Yeah. Pretty nutty. I don't know how you come up with that.
Doesn't the in Amnesia Dark Descent, doesn't the orb shatter if it's used or touched by an uninitiated?
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm reading another theory here on the Steam community. I just googled this, and this guy has got an interesting bit where, because he was in his thing, it says he was uninitiated, and the orb fractured and shattered in two. Consequently, this was so powerful, it also split Mandus' own soul in two as well. The two orb halves bled, so madness. They bled the madness and revealed unto him the horrors of the future.
Oh, so that's what caused him to see the horrors of the future, was the orb
and
splitting?
be like, oh, these people, they are pigs.
And that's why he went crazy. Yeah.
I'll make them pigs for realsies.
I wish we would have saw that in a note. Just that line.
You make them pigs now.
For realsies.
For realsies.
No, I gotta say, I don't understand near the end of the game. Why are there like electric pigs that can teleport or turn invisible? That really confused me.
Yeah, there was
really
one
random.
section where you run into these big electric pigs. I know exactly what you're talking about. I thought the exact same thing. I don't know.
It was cool though, the idea of like everything goes dark from home. He's somewhere else. Like that, it was a cool mechanic, but like it didn't really make much sense.
I think it was just an attempt to show that there were pigs that had evolved into something a little bit more than the ones we saw in the cell playing with blocks. Mm-hmm. You know, I think it was just trying to show that they can actually grow, they can actually change, and perhaps they had a little bit more mental capacity than the rest of the pigs. Like they kind of ascended to be these greater pigs. That's the only thing I could get from it.
On Wikipedia, it says they're failed experiments. These pig-like creatures flicker in and out of reality, and they are much more powerful than the man-pigs. They act as sort of a mini-boss.
Yeah.
But they weren't really threatening. I didn't feel threatened by them when I played them. I could get around them quite easily. Like the one when you're trapped in the room with it was a little bit like, you know, what the hell is going on? But I just sort of ignored it to flick the switches, and when I flicked the switches, it was gone. I was like, oh, that was
Didn't they walk in a bit of a funny way? Like
it had only 3 legs or something. Like they dragged themselves on one arm, and the other one was just a stump. It's kind of awkward.
Yeah.
Most of them
like,
seemed
you can't
confused.
do shit to me. I'm just gonna pull this switch. There we go.
It was
Goodbye now.
really weird. I could feel like they were supposed to be threatening, but like the first 30 seconds, I was like, what is that?
Every time I saw them, they looked like they were going, why am I moving from place to place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were just confused as we were, I think.
So speaking of electric pigs and whatnot, what was the relation? I didn't really pick up on it. Whenever you would see a pig, your lantern would flicker. Did that have any sort of symbolism, or was it just a game mechanism to let you know that's something?
No, there was reference to, so there was some type of thing called Concoction X or Potion X, something like that.
Compound X.
Compound X, right. And that was used to basically fuse these different limbs together. But you'll notice, so do you remember the part where there was the lock on there was a metal lock and we had to smash Compound X on it and then shine the light on it to burn it? Yeah. So that was kind of the way I interpret it, is all of those pigs have some of this Compound X.
Okay.
And so when your light is around it, it causes that to happen. There was also other lights that would flicker if you didn't have your lantern out when they were around, and it was because of the reaction with Compound X.
Compound X was the thing, by the way, that I was talking about a while ago, that was made, I'm pretty sure they said was made using the Castle B Vitae. Yes,
right,
exactly.
Yeah, because we had to find 2 things to put into that little centrifuge to create the Compound X, and I think one of them was the throwback to the Dark Descent.
We have pots of these now.
Yeah, exactly. Any other questions from you guys?
How did they get the Kurks, or however you pronounce it, those invisible creatures in the water, into the factory, if they're not even from Earth?
And why are they electric?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good question. I have no idea.
Indeed.
I honestly think that some of those things, like, this kind of sounds like a cop-out, I guess, but I think that some of them were just there because of Amnesia.
Yeah.
You know, like that water monster, it was cool because it was like, oh shit, I know what this thing does. Right? But there was really no purpose for it to be there, especially because they say it's from like another world. Like, why is it? I don't know.
You only touched the water like twice in this game too, in comparison.
Oh yeah, totally.
It wasn't even scary.
No, not at all. It like you're totally segregated from this monster the whole time, except for when the platform breaks, and then you go into like holy shit mode.
Oh no! I knew this would happen.
And you're expecting it the whole time, and it finally happens, right? So, I don't have an answer.
Apocalyptic
Does anyone else know?
And then surprise, there's 2.
Oh no!
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, didn't we discuss that earlier on that the 2 games were different, and Machine for Pigs was more an atmospheric thing, and with the throwback to Dark Descent, the moment that, I don't know if anyone else had this experience, but the moment I heard the first splash, I was just like, no. Not again, please.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Right away, you know what's coming. And that's the.
And even if like you never get into and I'm not going to call it water because it really wasn't. You know, with the thing,
that's true.
The fact that it's there is just frightening. Of just please don't dump me in there with that thing, because I'll probably just curl up in a fetal position in my chair and cry.
I think they moved faster as well.
Yeah, they did. And they were electrified.
Yeah, maybe that's why they moved faster. They were like, it hurts so much, I will run faster now.
So true. Any other questions?
Why are they invisible?
Does Madness have a big head?
What's that?
Does Madness have a big head on Machine of Pigs? The main character?
Madness.
Oh, does he have a pig head?
Yeah.
No. I thought you said, does he have a big head?
That's what I thought.
I was like, I have no idea. Probably.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he thinks he's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. No, I don't think he has a pig head at all.
I do want to share like one thing, because this was from when I saw the first bits of the game. Like at the start, this was like my first theory of the game, which turned out to be wrong, but I wish it was true, sort of. Because initially I thought that because of all the pig masks and all the stuff, that when he was talking about pigs, yes, he was referring to humans, but he would be referring to like, hello, fat people, sort of, and that he put the masks on the people.
I can see that.
and then sort of like just put them in the machine or something and did something horrible with these people. Sort of like how Daniel was a disturbed individual. I hope Mandus was sort of like that as well, but that was my initial theory when I saw the masks, and I was like, oh, maybe they stick them on fat people.
I mean, it totally could have went that way. I always thought, like before we saw actual pigs, I was kind of thinking it was just like he was pissed at people that demonstrated gluttony, not in the sense of just eating, but just kind of the overzealous way of living life in society.
Yeah.
Greedy bastards.
But because he was also talking about the poor and everything, so it sort of made sense to me initially.
Yeah. Okay, so I thought I'd maybe take the last couple minutes here to... Can you guys see the screen?
The screen share.
With the thumbnail?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Okay. I think what I'm going to do is go through some of the thumbnails that I got from people that were watching, because some of them are actually really cool. Are you guys cool with that?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That'll be a good way to wrap it up, I think. So, this first one, I got to thank Annicator, who's in the call, Christian Baker. This was the first one I got. And, like, look at that face. Like, it's beautiful.
ChristopherOdd.
Look at that. And, like, slowly.
The horror.
He stares in our souls.
And I gotta say, this was the inspiration for a lot of other people's,
Every
other
other person's modeled theirs off of that one. Like, it was the template.
So, really, really good job, I think.
Yeah, only lacking tattoos, of course.
Only lacking what?
Your tattoos.
Oh, my tattoos, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that would have been a cool touch, but it's all good. We'll let that one slide.
Yeah, I'm not that kind of a stalker. So.
The next one.
Copy these tattoos.
The next one's pretty cool as well. This was somebody on Reddit sent this to me, and I really like it. I like what they did.
I really like it too, but I'm still like kind of like just looking at him like that's not Christopher.
No, it doesn't look like me at all.
It looks too serious. I mean,
You have a subreddit?
that face.
I do have a I have a subreddit, but it's empty. But this was sent. Just somebody private messaged me because.
Okay.
Yeah. If you guys want to subscribe to my Reddit subreddit, one day I might actually use it. The next one.
Oh, that one.
This one also came from somebody on Reddit. Pretty bizarre, but I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Impressionist.
Just because it's so different.
But something that I noticed with a lot of them, which we will see, is that a lot of people use the umbrella image as a template.
Yeah, totally.
As well.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, he was holding an umbrella, but now he's just holding something else.
Oh, the umbrella. Good times. I know I took that picture in my shower, hey? I'll have you guys know.
Kind of wanted to do something like...
Oh, is this yours, Girlite?
No, I wanted to do something like that, but it didn't work out.
Here, let me show you what he just showed me. Can you guys see that? That's pretty good.
Control scroll, yeah.
I like it.
Run! Oh my god!
That's awesome.
Mr. Flappy Face.
This one here, this is MS Paint.
No. It's beautiful.
Yeah, this is my buddy Linus that did this one for me. I'm very honored.
My favorite.
He's got the red eyes in the background as well.
Yeah. Oh, whoa. I didn't mean to do that.
Control
We're all
one.
watching.
There we go. The next one, this is pretty cool. That's like totally bizarre, but I like this little thing right here.
We have pots of these now. Yeah, exactly. Any other questions from you guys?
Oh, can somebody just mute their mic if they're actually playing the video?
The Kurds or however.
Someone's naughty.
I know who it is.
No,
okay. Next one. This is really cool. I dig this.
Brutal.
Such a cool interpretation of that monster.
Metalhead. He's going metal. He's not going mental, he's going metal.
Yeah, I really think that.
Sorry about that.
Fine.
Oh, that's okay. Don't sweat it. This one was pretty funny. This one has the tattoos and everything. If you guys can see that tattoo says Thug Life.
The other one's the theater symbol.
That's the best. Yeah, and the other one's the theater symbol.
And the monster's like, don't worry about
now,
it.
Cry later.
Yeah, the monster is like, I'm gonna touch Christopher Odd.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Don't worry about it. You're gonna have fun playing this game.
This one's actually
Play
really
Amnesia,
funny.
they
Just
said.
this one's funny because of all the little like he's got a mouse in here. He's got the keyboard, the microphone just off here, and on a thumbnail you totally can't see it, but it's so perfect for me to look at.
Yeah, that was kind of like one of my worries when I was working on it. I was like, let's add some more detail. Wait, nobody's gonna see this. Let's not do it.
There was somebody actually that shared with me some ways to actually view a thumbnail and like the quality it was uploaded in. So that was kind of cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Next one. I don't know. I think this. Hold on.
Blind.
It's like Rayman.
No comment.
It's a blind playthrough.
And that's it, right?
Oh.
That's what I think too.
I see what he did there.
It's pretty funny. This is way better than I could draw, like, without a doubt.
Oh, come on.
This one,
Christopher.
I gotta say, this one is probably from an artistic standpoint, like, this one's pretty incredible.
Good composition. Some nice.
Yeah, very good.
Some nice
It
shading.
reflects actual gameplay. I don't know if anyone else does, but sitting back in the chair and covering your own mouth because
Yeah.
somehow the creature in the game can hear you if you're talking in reality.
Yeah.
Just seems to be something I do.
Do you
Is that
see
a
the
photo
creature?
manipulation?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
you
it's
see the
in-
creature in the back there for sure,
There's a
right?
silhouette.
Like, so subtle.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I think like those little scared noises you make, like even the person in the game makes when they're trying to be quiet, like in Outlast when you're hiding in the locker, that's just, don't make any sound.
Yeah,
Please,
I
God,
really
don't
like your little moments of horror, Christopher. By the way, they are very.
They're not little on this end.
They are very unique little things. They're not just like, I'm screaming. No, it's like.
Honestly, when I was playing this game, there were moments where probably the worst moments was when I didn't say anything, and I just started sweating instantly.
Yeah.
Like you could just feel like some type of weird tension. And the other thing is, I realized that my voice was probably really too loud in a lot of the videos, and it's because I had my headphones up so loud that I was like,
I
literally
don't
yelling
think
over the
that's
top.
really a big problem. I think actually in recent videos the game audio has been too loud.
Oh jeez.
In a couple, yeah.
I think you should like technical things. Maybe you should do some sort of compressor thing where the game audio is lowered a bit when you speak.
Yeah,
Noise gating.
I do a compression on most of my stuff, but I know the ones that you guys are talking about, especially at the end of these two games where there's the credits playing and you can't hear me at all.
Yeah.
That was just a mistake on my
The
part.
game's like, la, listen to me. And it's like, well, I'm Christopher Odd, and I finished the game.
Exactly. This one I like as well.
I like that one too, because it's just like it's supposed to be you, and you're like, oh, it's perfectly fine, but it just, I like its goofiness.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, it's this thing over here.
I love
Yeah, I wanted to say that.
Hey guys, I gotta run. Gotta go to work. Thank
Oh,
you for the chat.
have fun.
Talk
Thanks
to
for
you later.
joining.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
This one's just awesome. You can't deny that one.
Blazer.
We've all had that moment.
Yeah. This one, my mom made this.
It's really cool how
I
involved
was
your mom
wondering,
is.
where did you get that sauce?
Yeah, this is me a few years ago with my brother over here. And my brother's actually coming to visit in about a month. We're going to make some videos together. He's hilarious. He's the funniest guy you'll ever meet.
He's gonna be the new Grelite?
No, Grelite helps me out a lot. He's huge with the channel. Like, I've given him access to help me with playlists and stuff because, I don't have all the time in the world. But
He's gonna
Grelite,
take your money.
Photoshop this lantern in. I wasn't really holding a lantern. That's pretty impressive.
I was convinced it was there.
Good.
Speaking of playlists, really
She's probably watching right now.
Can you make a The Last of Us playlist so I don't have to keep clicking each one?
Oh, I have one, dude.
Really? I looked through all your playlists and I couldn't find one for The Last of Us.
No, it's there. I'll send it in a private link after this.
What a nice mail.
Wait, what's on the mouth of that guy?
I don't know what's in the mouth of that guy.
It's kind of disturbing.
It's
Some
awesome.
teeth. Tooth something.
It's your happiness.
It's really nice. I like that. This was his name is Mick Backstabber. He comments on the channel pretty regularly. But I like the tears that he has there. I don't know how he did it exactly, but
Well,
really cool.
I put tears in mine, in the later one.
Yeah, he did.
You look horrified.
There he is.
There it is.
ChristopherOdd.
I love it. So good.
It's like just a variation on the first one, but it's like the return journey.
Exactly.
And he's like, yeah, it doesn't matter anymore.
No comment here.
So true. I've got a couple more. This one's pretty nice.
What?
Oh my god. Look at the hair. I should actually do that. I feel like my hair's about that length right now.
Is that you?
Yeah, well, it's my face, yeah.
Looks like an extra from Lord of the Rings.
I know, right? So bad. And then this one's the most flattering.
Oh.
Look at that.
Oh.
I'm
It's
just
the red
forever
eyes again.
But yeah, the eyes are there, so I mean,
Set
pretty
ChristopherOdd.
awesome. There's the link in the chat there for you, Brennan.
Thanks.
No problem. So, welcome back. This is my actual face. I just want to take a second to thank you guys for joining. So, I know this is a big chunk of your day. It took about an hour and a half to talk about video games, and I appreciate that. This is something I want to do more often. It's just I don't always have the time. So, thanks, Brendan, Carlos, Christian, Grelite when he was here, Connor, FireClan, Garrus or Ellis, whichever you prefer,
Alice.
and Zia, and Sarah who left. But I really appreciate it for everybody watching. Thanks a lot. I really enjoy this kind of stuff. And if you guys want to do this more often, then get on Google+. This is the easiest way to do it. So
Everyone like and subscribe to ChristopherOdd.
You're the best, Christopher.
Do it.
2 times.
It's
I'm
an
pretty
honor
sure
to get to
these
talk to
people
you.
watching
twice.
already subscribed.
No.
You never know.
Subscribe again.
never know.
Oh wait, no. Subscribe again twice, because else you'll unsubscribe.
There you
Subscribe,
go.
unsubscribe, subscribe, unsubscribe.
Oh, that's how it works. Weird. Anyways, guys, I really appreciate the time, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care.
It was nice to meet you.
You too.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.